Starbucks is going through a major reset. What does this mean for its real estate strategy? And more importantly, what does it mean for investors like you? Here's what you need to know. Let's start with what's happening. Starbucks is shrinking its stores from 2,500 square feet down to about 1,400. They've gone through 2 rounds of corporate layoffs, cutting thousands of jobs. They're closing hundreds of stores and slowing new store growth. And most importantly, they're doubling down on cost discipline. This isn't a tweak, it's a full reset. Historically, Starbucks was a net lease darling, a true sleep well at night investment. For decades, developers built the stores, investors bought the leases, and landlords collected rent like clockwork, mailbox money. But now, has that changed? Should you be worried?
The answer is it depends. If you already own a Starbucks on a long-term lease, you'll keep collecting rent. Starbucks can't just walk away once the store is built. They have no termination rights. And if they ever did close a location, they'd still have to pay all the remaining rent on the lease. So your rent checks are safe during the lease term. But here's the catch. Most Starbucks rents are above market. That's because of the way their deals are structured. Developers spend millions up front. Starbucks signs at an elevated rent, and investors pay a premium to own that cash flow. It works beautifully until renewal time. When a 10 or 15-year lease expires, if the rent is way above comparable properties nearby, Starbucks has leverage. They can push for a rent reduction or simply choose not to renew.
So why are Starbucks rents often above market in the first place? It all comes back to how these stores get built. Developers are the ones putting millions of dollars at risk up front, while Starbucks runs an asset-light model that shifts much of the cost to them. Let me show you how that process works and why it explains both the opportunity and the risk. Here's how a Starbucks store comes to life. Step 1. Permits. This is the city or local jurisdiction giving you the thumbs up to build. It sounds simple, but it's a lot of red tape. Every city is different, and with all the reports and approvals, it can take 6 to 12 months just to get permission. Step 2. Construction and the landlord work letter. Once approved, the developer starts construction, and per the lease agreement, there's something called a landlord work letter. Starbucks instructions for how to build the framework or shell. The developer pays for this and takes the risk. Step 3. Tenant build-out. Starbucks pays for a small piece of construction, the tenant build-out inside the store, things like equipment and finishes. Even then, they often ask the landlord to contribute money through allowances. This is an asset-light model for Starbucks, and is how they've been able to scale so aggressively. Step 4. Rent commencement. Here's the kicker. Rent only begins after construction is finished, and in many Starbucks leases, are not even required to open the store. You could build it, collect rent, but a Starbucks never opens. The property sits dark. That destroys value because no investor wants to buy a Starbucks that's closed, even if rent checks are coming in. Smart landlords make sure the lease requires them to open.
Say it costs $2 million to permit and build the shell. A developer might target an 8% return, which means Starbucks rent needs to be about $160,000 per year. If that rent stream can later be sold to an investor a 6% cap rate, that's about $2.66 million. Build for $2 million, sell for $2.66 million. That spread is the profit.
But with the new CEO cracking down on costs, that spread is shrinking. Developers are being squeezed, and the easy money is gone.
So what does this mean for you? If you're already holding a Starbucks lease, you'll collect every rent check until it expires. But the real question is renewal. Will Starbucks re-up at those rents or push for cuts? If you're a developer, the days of easy margins are over. Smaller stores, stricter terms, and tighter economics mean you can't pencil sloppy. If you're an investor, Starbucks is still a trophy tenant. Institutions are still paying premiums, but today's map is different, and you need to know exactly what you're buying.
So, what's the big takeaway? Starbucks is going through an identity crisis. Corporate in Seattle has made it clear. They don't care about local developers or relationships anymore. It's no longer about partnership. It's about one question. Does the deal pencil? And the bar for what pencils has gotten a lot higher. Deals are less attractive. Starbucks is more rigid to work with, and the value of a Starbucks lease today just isn't what it used to be. Here's my bold prediction. There will be better times ahead for Starbucks, but right now, it's a tough transition. For developers, there are stronger opportunities elsewhere. So the rule is simple: stick to the math. If the numbers pencil, do the deal, but don't stretch just because it's Starbucks.
Subscribe for more. In the next video, we'll walk you through exactly how to underwrite a net lease deal, like a new Starbucks development. This is Mailbox Money. I'm that lease guy, turning stress into sunsets, one lease at a time.